Welcome back, everybody. We're doing another episode of Indie Reads Aloud. This is season 5. I'm so excited. My name is Diana Catherine Penn, and today we have a new to me author on the podcast. I have not met her before, so we all get to discover her work together. Today, our Roy is joining us, but because we've now become friends in the green room, I get to call her Robin. I'm sure she'd let you call her Robin if you asked. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I love meeting new authors and the stories that they bring. This is going to be a fun episode for me. Tell me a little bit about your writing journey. How did you decide that you were going to write a novel?
I've always wanted to. English was always my strong subject in school. Um, I've always had a bit of an imagination. I can watch a movie, and when I'm done watching it, my brain will start formulating a whole new plot line. And I can go down a rabbit hole with, well, if this happened, then that will happen, then this will happen. And I need an outlet for that. So I finally wrote a novel.
Fantastic. This is your debut novel, right?
Very first, yes.
And it's a book called Save Them. Now,
Correct.
before we go any further, I do want to let everybody know that there is a listener advisory for this episode.
This
For
is adult fiction.
and there is strong language, mature situations, and violence in the book. So if you have little ears listening nearby, you might want to preview this episode before you share it with the little ones. So tell me, your story is very eclectic. There seems to be a lot of different elements converging in these pages. Can you give me an idea of a particular genre or maybe two or three genres where your book fits?
This book is hard to classify for me and for everybody else, it seems, because it is adult fiction and there is romance and there is mystery and there are bad situations with bad people who are willing to hurt other people. Um, and so it's a bit of a mystery of who they are and why they're doing what they're doing and who's going to save the day.
Now, when you call it adult fiction, you're not classifying it as erotica. You're just classifying it as an older reader, correct? This is not
Correct.
for the young adult audience.
It is not, because we do have some romance, but the romance is not super strong in this book.
Okay.
Um, I'm only going to write those kind of scenes if I feel that they fit, and I didn't feel they fit in this book. But we do have two people that fall in love. So
Excellent. Okay. Now there's also based just on the cover, which I think is a clever cover. It looks like this book also might have some environmental elements in it.
it does.
So can you give us a brief synopsis what your story is about? What's the story you're about to read for us?
The background is this is a cruise, and what I'm going to read will tell you where the cruise is going. So you'll kind of get the gist of that. But this is a cruise, and it is discovered that there are bad people on this cruise. Hopefully, I will get to a section that will kind of explain why they think these bad people came onto this cruise and what they hope to accomplish. Um, so that is the background, and we have a group of people who board this ship as strangers, and when they leave the ship, and they do not leave in the regular sense. So this isn't a
Okay.
cruise that goes to where it's going to go and everybody becomes friends and then it goes back to port and everybody says, hey, great. Um, there's there's a whole nother aspect to it. It doesn't end like you think it's going to end.
So detours and a surprise ending.
Yes, and there are two penguins on the ship, and
Excellent.
our female lead is in charge of taking them back to Antarctica.
I
So
love penguins.
her
I'm gonna love this book.
I the penguins are George and Grace. So if you hear those names in this reading, you'll know who I'm talking about. And yeah, they just materialized, and yeah, now I love them.
Yep, it's hard not to love penguins. Okay, I'm excited to hear a little bit about your book, and then after you're done reading, we will chat a little bit afterward. So, um, Robin Groy, when you are ready, please take the microphone and read aloud from Save Them.
Okay. I've given the background, so they are on the ship, and hopefully you everybody will understand where we are. June was waiting for Lucas when he came out of the med center. June, this is Suleiman. June looked at Suleiman. Can I give you a hug? Suleiman looked surprised and a little uncomfortable. Sure. June gave him a big hug. He was several inches taller than her. Thank you so much. You could have let go of Jacob's coat. I am so glad that you are both okay. She hesitated. Anna? They got her back. I think she'll make it. June breathed a sigh of relief. Have you checked on George and Grace? Not since this morning. I was going to figure out how to bring them up from below, but now that the storm is letting up, I think they'll be okay. I need to go check on them. I'll go with you. I just want to find Tony first. They walked around the ship until they found Tony. His face was ashen. Whatever it was, Lucas knew it wasn't good. Is it Anna? He asked. No, she's going to make it, as far as I know. Tony looked like he was about to throw up. He looked at them both, obviously wrestling with a decision. He took several steps out of earshot of anyone nearby. Lucas and June followed. Tony took a deep breath. What now? There's a killer on board. One of the cabin stewards was just found strangled to death. June gasped. Lucas felt sick. Tell us what you know. She was found in a storage closet near the rooms that she cleans. She was in the back corner covered up. It looks like a rush job. I don't think killing her was the original plan. I'm thinking she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Most likely walked into somebody's cabin and saw something she wasn't supposed to see. Who knows about this? You two, the doctor, and the captain, as far as I know. We're keeping it quiet for now. Lucas, the crew isn't trained for this. It's a cruise ship, not a battleship. We have no idea what we're up against. We don't know who. We don't know why. We don't know anything. Is it only one killer? More than one? All we know is someone is dead and it wasn't an accident. Tony was doing his best to hold himself together. Lucas wanted to scream. He wanted to punch his fist through the wall, grab the killer, and wring his neck. Or she. It would be psychologically harder for him if it was a she. Keep it together. Focus. The killer is most likely protecting something, he said. Some kind of secret. Can you think of anything out of the ordinary about this trip? Did any strange cargo come on board? Did you notice any unusual behavior from any of the passengers? Did any of them seem off? Lucas, this whole trip has been out of the ordinary. The first person I think of when it comes to unusual behavior is you. Tony had a point. He had felt uncomfortable and out of place when he boarded. That is unusual behavior for someone going on a cruise. What about luggage and cargo? Did you see anything that could be suspicious? Not that I can think of. We don't expect people to bring missile launchers on board hidden in telescope cases. Lucas was still thinking. It's also possible something was brought on board while the ship was being loaded. It could be an inside job. Do you know every crew member well? Are there any new ones on the ship? Yeah, there were 3 new guys at the loading dock that I had never met before when we left port. What kind of contraband does someone bring to Antarctica? What are they going to do? Get the penguins hooked on crack? Tony had a point. Lucas couldn't think of any reasonable explanation to smuggle something into Antarctica. There's nothing there but research bases. And at this time of year, there are very few people. Maybe that's part of the plan. No one around to get in the way, like the cabin steward. We need more information. Agreed. The passengers can't know about this. I don't know how to protect them. Should I order everybody into the dining room or keep them spread out? Maybe putting everybody all in one place makes them sitting ducks. Moving them would probably raise suspicion. Best to act like nothing has changed. I know this sounds heartless, but it's best to leave the body where it was found. Once the killer knows we found it, he'll know we're onto him, or her, or them. Tony closed his eyes, accepting the truth. Agreed, it will buy us some time. Have you talked to the captain? Yeah, we've been in contact with some ships that were leaving the continent. I'm told they're standing by in case we need help. What do you want to do? Lucas asked. I want to start in the area that Lucia was responsible for. Lucia was the cabin steward. Okay, let's go. We're going to hang out around the ship for a while, like nothing has changed. I don't want to go straight to Lucia's area and start snooping. That's going to be hard, doing nothing. You want me to just follow you around for a while? No, that will look suspicious. Meet me in the Science Center at 5 o'clock. Hopefully, most of the passengers will be in the dining room or in the bar or anywhere but their cabins. June and I are going to go get the birds. Sorry, Tony, but ship rules no longer apply. They can't stay down there. It's not safe. I won't have June going below to take care of them. Tony raised his arms in defeat. Fine, you're right. They can't stay there. There's a service elevator we can use to bring them up. The dining crew uses it to bring the food up. We'll need an excuse. We can dump some of the cleaning supplies, June said. Say we can't leave them down there in a chemical spill. If anybody goes down there, the reason will be legit. That should work. They stopped by the dining area, so Tony could tell the staff that the penguins needed to be brought up. The crew seemed a bit perplexed, but pleased that they would soon be able to meet two of the cutest passengers on board. They were happy to stand by and bring the birds up safely. Lucas and June headed below deck to George and Grace. June grabbed the supplies she had brought to take care of her patients. She found two empty boxes. She threw frozen fish into one and fruit into another. They got the cage into the elevator while George and Grace voiced their discontent at being further tossed around just when things were starting to calm down. They made their way back to the dining area to find George and Grace talking excitedly to their new admirers. They borrowed a dolly and wheeled the birds to June's cabin. They got many surprised and inquiring looks as they rolled the cage down the hall. There's been a spill down below, June explained. Smells terrible. I couldn't leave them down there. It would make them sick. We got the purser's permission, Lucas added. What they said was true. They just omitted the fact that they were the ones to cause the spill. I'll stay here with them for a while, June said. Let them calm down. Then she whispered, Do you think texting is safe? I don't know. Just keep the texts normal. I'm going to try to acquire a few more ice buckets for the fish. I'll be careful. I don't want to leave you, but I have to figure this out. Text me so I know you're okay. June's face softened. She gave him a warm smile. Lucas, you can call me Junebug from time to time. Okay, Junebug. He left her cabin feeling like the heels of his feet had just sprouted wings. Lucas showed up at the Science Center at 5 o'clock, carrying a bottle of beer. Tony was already there and looked at the bottle with an inquisitive expression. I'm trying to look like a passenger, not a bodyguard, Lucas explained. That's a good idea, Tony responded. As they left the Science Center, they heard a voice. It sounded like Suleiman. It was coming from a small room nearby. They looked in, and Suleiman was kneeling on a prayer rug, praying. Do you want to fill him in? Lucas asked. Tony struggled with the question. He felt he could trust Suleiman. He just didn't know if getting him involved was the right thing to do. If we tell him, he has to come with us. I don't want this news getting out. Most of the crew doesn't even know yet. The captain feels that the more people who know, the harder it will be to maintain the business as usual facade. Let him finish, then we'll tell him. Prayer is important, and we need all the help we can get. When Suleiman finished, Lucas and Tony approached. Can we talk to you? Sure. You got any plans this evening? We need some help. No specific plans. I can help. What's up? Lucas looked around to make sure no one was in nearby. The following conversation stays between us and only us, at least for now. Agreed? Suleiman looked confused and concerned. Sure, he said slowly. We have a killer on board. A cabin steward was found strangled to death. We're going to check out the area where she was found. Now that you know, you need to stay with us, okay? Suleiman was visibly upset. Okay. When they got to Lucia's area, they saw an older couple headed to their cabin, room 208. When they paused to unlock their door, Lucas approached. Hey, do you guys like this hallway? Is it quiet? I've got noisy neighbors. They're driving me nuts. The couple looked at Lucas with uncertainty. He was still carrying the bottle of beer he brought with him. Tony interjected. Sorry, folks. I'm Tony, the ship's purser. This guy's been complaining about his neighbors. Give him a couple beers, and now he wants to walk around the ship looking for a quieter hallway. Well, the woman said, if you can get the people in 204 to switch with him, I wouldn't mind. Yesterday there were people going in and out constantly, at all hours. It was like Party Central. Earlier I heard a scream, and I was sure it came from that room. Did you tell anybody about this man? Oh, yes, we told a crew member on the main deck. A nice gentleman, but he seemed a bit preoccupied. We would have told our cleaning lady, but she never came to clean our room. I hope she's okay. Such a sweet girl. They had to send someone else to do it. I want to look into this and make sure the crew member you told followed the proper procedures. Can you describe him? The couple provided a description, about 5'10", dark olive skin, medium build, black hair and a mustache. His name tag said Ramez, the husband added. I hear movement and noises in there, the woman said, even when it seems no one is in there. I think they smuggled an animal on board, although I can't imagine why. Thanks, we'll check it out. Turn page. Now they had a very suspicious cabin and a valid reason to enter it. Tony knocked on the door of 204. Ship's purser. Hello? Anybody there? The woman they had spoken to lingered in the hallway, waiting to see if someone opened the door. Come on, dear, her husband encouraged. Let them do their job. We don't need to be a part of this. They both disappeared into their room. The men heard movement inside of room 204, but no voices. The woman was right. Something was in that room. Something alive. Tony spoke again. Ship's purser. I apologize for intruding, but if anybody is in there, I need to make sure you're okay. I'm coming in. A noise came from the other side of the door. It sounded like a growl. The men looked at each other. What on earth? Tony turned his head to look down the hall in both directions to confirm there was no one in the hallway. He took a deep breath and opened the door. Something alive was in that room. A woman, gagged and tied to a chair. End of the chapter.
Wow. What a place to leave us at. Thanks for the cliffhanger.
That's kind of the whole point.
It kind of is. Thank you so much for your reading.
Thank you so much.
So you're a new novelist, new to this mayhem many of us have been in for several years.
Brand
What's
new.
what's the biggest surprise that you discovered when you became an author?
I think the biggest surprise for me was, I'll say, the self-discovery of the whole
Mm,
process of doing this. Um, of course, I've done tons of research and I've listened to lots of different authors and learned how other people do things. And some ways are very similar and some ways are very different. The other thing that has very surprised me, very much surprised me, is how much I love to do it.
ah,
Um,
yeah,
just to sit. I was like, this is kind of like one of those dreams jobs. If I could just sit and write and be
yeah,
semi-successful, that's a dream job because
exactly.
I love to do it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about book editing. People are paying me to read their books.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Um, so what's next for you? Do you have another story in mind? Are you working on another project?
This book was written to be a sequel. It needs a sequel.
Okay.
As I wrote this book, so much kept formulating in my head. I had to decide if I was going to make a really big book or make two books. And I knew where I wanted to end Save Them. And everything that kept coming into my head was after the end of this book.
Okay.
So I either had to put the ending of this book in the middle and keep going, or I had to end it at its original ending point. So I chose the latter um,
And how
because
far
for
along are you in the second book?
between a third and a half.
Congratulations. That's
And
fantastic.
as you probably know, and most authors know, I have notes and notes and notes. It's all there. I just have to sit down and write it.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
and then of course, the other thing I love is, I'll just be driving and a whole scene will come into my head and I'll be like, oh, I like that. I have to use that.
Yeah.
And I
And
have
then you
to,
have to get to a place where you can stop and safely write it down.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So are you a pantser or are you a plotter? Do you plan and plot and scheme and work with outlines and lots of notes? Or do you simply start with a germinating idea and let it go its own way?
This book was a germinating idea. And I found that that is how I tend to write. Um, but I had so much in my head for book two.
Hmm.
I started book two with 4 pages of notes. And there's
Okay.
a good chance that 3 of those pages will never be put into the words um, because as I start it, it goes its own way. Um,
Okay.
Tosin, well, I actually just gave you guys a spoiler alert um, because Tosin was not mentioned in this reading, but he is in the book. And if anybody does read it, you'll understand. Um, I had so many different ways I could have done Tosin. And one of those ways was to kill him off, whether it be someone had to do him in or he sacrificed himself. I did not do that. And in book two, he is developing into a character that I just love. And I'm like, I wrote a scene out and I literally read it back and I shook my head and I was like, I'm so glad I didn't kill him off.
It is interesting how characters can really fly on their own
Yes,
and we just take dictation and write incident reports and figure out how to put it all together eventually.
it is. It's almost like they take on a life of their own and we're just
They do.
recording the events.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you came on the program today.
Thank
I'm
you so
really
much for
excited
having
to
me.
meet you, and I'm going to look forward to reading your book. And I hope that when book two is finished, you'll come back and read for us again.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Take care.